The Etruscans, of course, will have their own form of temple that's going to take some ideas from the Greeks, and it's going to be extremely influential on the Romans later on. So it's very influenced, but it will have their own spin. Etruscan temples have a basic design that can be accredited to Greek temple design that's modified based on Etruscan needs, and almost more importantly, materials that are readily available to the Etruscans. And it should be pointed out, we don't have any Etruscan temples. What we have are models and descriptions from the Romans, but there isn't any surviving Etruscan temple. So what we're seeing here is reconstructed based on the accounts of a Roman architect by the name of Vitruvius, the same man who tells us about the Athena Parthenos in Greece. And there appear to be several variations, but we're going to deal with the most basic. What we see is an ornate home for the Etruscan god, with a distinct front of the building. Instead of a colonnade running all the way around, we only have a columned porch in front, a very deep-set porch. The materials, however, did not survive, except for the podium. So all the Etruscan temples are raised up on a podium surface, and that's generally going to be stone or stone with some form of concrete. And what we tend to see is unfluted wooden columns, and the roof will be tiled with terracotta tiles. The walls built of sun-dried brick. So basically, mud brick. In terms of the design, what we usually have is very wide-spaced columns on that porch, because as a porch, I don't have to support as much. Some of that weight is being cantilevered from the temple. We also see 3 cellas, and it's very common to have one for each of the main Etruscan gods, with an entry to each cella. Each one may have had a cult statue in it, much like the Athena Parthenos. In terms of the statuary, there's almost never statuary on the pediment. Rather, they usually put statues on the roof. And that's what we're seeing here with this statue of Apollo. And this is the finest piece that we have surviving. It's a life-size piece, part of a larger group, and it would have been painted. Now, they're using terracotta instead of marble. The reason being, terracotta is much more accessible in northern Italy than marble is at this time. They're, of course, sitting on a lot of marble. They just don't know that right now. And it calls to mind some of the archaic sculptures that we see in ancient Greece. For example, the smile. We have that archaic smile once again. We have that highly stylized hair, which looks like some kind of braided bread loaf in this case. We see the face with the enlarged eyes and somewhat unusual features. Yet, there's a certain energy to him. You notice he's stepping forward, and it's not just a small step forward. It looks like he's coming forward almost to embrace us. He's striding, and his arms are articulated with this animated face. Now, this may be a little bit more clumsy, but it definitely has a sense of energy. And when we look at, for example, the robes that he's wearing, or we look at some of the definition and line work in his legs, for example, or even this additional piece that's helping support him underneath, you'll notice that heavy use of line and repetitive line. It's giving us a sense of energy, almost as if the wind is moving through our god Apollo. He's also hollow cast, and the reason for that, to create a hollow clay statue, is weight. So you want to cut that weight down, and it makes it easier for firing.